Three big mistakes that hypnotherapists very often make. This is Jürgen Rasmussen. Welcome to the Provocative Hypnosis vlog. So let's go through three big shoot yourself in the foot mistakes that hypnotherapists very often make. The first one is playing the confidence game uncritically. So I remember, for example, 20 years ago, studying the video material of Omni-Hypnosis and Jerry Kine, and students being instructed to say, if someone asked, can you help me with X issue, to say, that's easy, we do it all the time. This is a form of confidence game, and it's not entirely unjustified because your belief, your conviction, your congruency certainly is part of the package if you're in the suggestion artistry, so to speak. But if you play the confidence game and you do what you can to build up people's expectations that hypnotherapy is going to quickly and easily solve their issues, well, here's the problem. Let's say you do a session with a client. There are four possible outcomes after that particular session. One is complete resolution. So let's say the client had a driving over bridges phobia, right? And now after the first session, they've driven over bridges and they're completely fine. So complete resolution. That's one option. Another one is change. Some change, and this can vary from some mild improvement to moderate improvement to like huge improvements, but not quite there. The third one is no change. So the person comes back and essentially says, look, nothing's different. I'm still just as terrified when I attempt to drive over those bridges. And the fourth one is worse. Since the session we did together, I'm even more afraid of driving over bridges. So if you've played the confidence game uncritically, yeah, if the person has a complete resolution, you're good. Even though 2 months later, they might suddenly panic again and think that everything went to shit. But let's assume that doesn't happen. You're good. Major change, you're probably still good. Moderate change, but small change, you're probably struggling. No change, worse. The chances are that you have zero credibility now with this particular client. So what you have to do is you have to frame the work you do, the client relationship, set up expectations in such a way that there is an optimism. You open for the possibility of dramatic, quick changes, but where you still have credibility irrespective of which four of those outcomes are there after the first session. And there's an artistry in doing that. A second big mistake is if you frame what you do as hypnotherapy or hypnosis or hypnotism, is to play the game that the changes are supposed to exclusively happen during the alleged hypnosis. And one of the big problems of this is that, of course, it's not hypnosis in and of itself that changes people. It's the reorganization of experience. It's the new perspectives. It's the building of skills. It's the insights that people have before, during, and after the work you do together. So if the client buys into this idea that whatever changes will happen will come out of an alleged trance state or hypnosis, you're shooting yourself in the foot, because what you want to do is you want to frame things in such a way that people are already making improvements before they even enter your office. You want to give people often tasks which help to build the sort of skills or insights and capacities that the client that is likely going to be useful given what the client is presenting. You want to use homework and tasks that the client does in between sessions to build skills. Not only because change work is way more effective that way, and you can get things happening before you even start doing the official hypnosis, but also because even if the client doesn't respond that well to the formal hypnosis, you can still very often, or most often, help the person change anyways. But if you don't do that, you're kind of screwed. So even if you market yourself as a hypnotherapist, do not only rely on or sell the frame that the change is going to happen during the hypnosis work exclusively. The final one then, related to this, is to use convincers in such a way that it reinforces an external frame of reference. Here's what I mean by this. So clients very often have an external frame of reference, especially in the context in which they seek your help. So back to the driving phobia client then. They say, oh, driving over bridges freaks me out. Or let's say that they struggle with rage in traffic. Oh, these other drivers, make my blood boil. So what they're essentially saying is that there's these events and factors out there, the other drivers or the bridge, that kind of cause my emotional state. Of course, this perception is problematic. What people try to do in CBT and functional ways of working is to help people to kind of realize that it's not the events in of themselves, but it's more how you think about them, how you make meaning, how you interpret, and of course also how you relate to your own inner experience. But if we play the confidence game and we sell people the idea that there's this unique state called hypnosis, and we then use these convincers, which is essentially, I'm going to count to three, and at the count of three, the more you try to bend your arm, the more it remains exactly where it is, or you won't be able to open your eyes, or the more you try to lift your feet, the more they stick to the floor. These types of typical suggestions. Well, let's say that the client responds really well to those suggestions. It kind of reinforces. So even if they change their driving over bridge phobia or their road rage, you've contributed to strengthening this external frame of reference, which is, other drivers on the bridge used to drive me insane or freak me out, but the hypnosis and the hypnotist cured me. So now you've contributed to strengthening the very external frame of reference, which largely, or is a major key player of people developing these sorts of issues to begin with. Of course, if you are playing the hypnosis as something special game, then not doing some sort of convincer or hypnotic phenomena will leave many clients thinking nothing special was going on. I felt I could just have opened my eyes and left at any time, so I clearly wasn't hypnotized, so this isn't working. So if you are playing the hypnosis game, then you probably want to offer some sort of phenomena, but you don't have to use phenomena that reinforce the external frame of reference. Or if you use those sorts of phenomena, which I sometimes do with clients, it's important to frame them in such a way that the person sees, if I think something or imagine something or get absorbed into some sort of suggested experience and I forget that it's a thought, I can make it so real that it's as real and it feels like reality. Ha! That's what I'm doing with my symptoms. And if I kind of, I can pull the rug from under my particular issues. So there's a world of difference, for example, if you're doing a feet stuck to the floor, or you can't open your eyes, or you can't bend your arm, these sorts of suggestions, of people interpreting them. This was evidence that I was in a particular state called hypnosis, where I'm extremely suggestible and where the hypnotist kind of has control over my mind, versus realizing, hey, I just kind of got absorbed into an idea, and I have the ability to make it as real as real. That's a way more empowering frame, one that's more likely to strengthen a more internal frame of reference, which for most of the clients, most of the time, is what we're kind of trying to help them develop. So, these are 3 typical mistakes. I want to let you know that I have a brand new seminar coming up. It's titled When Clients Don't Change. It's for hypnotherapists, hypnotists, NLP coaches, psychotherapists, and it covers the typical patterns that I've discovered which are at play both within the client, the helper, and the relationship when clients don't change. It's a troubleshooting seminar. It's going to be online. It starts on May 23rd, 6:30 p.m. UK time. So if you're interested in this, go to provocativehypnosis.com, hit the seminar page, and you'll see the information there. Also, if you're interested in working with me, shoot me an email at provocativehypnosis.com, and we can take it from there. I hope this information was useful. I hope it makes you think a little bit, and that you will utilize it in your change work or hypnotherapy career. Till next time, thanks for listening.